everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
I am Dr. Nicole Bradford, and I'm originally from Austin, Texas, but I reside in the DFW area.
Okay. And can we go ahead and dig into your extensive past leading up into your extensive present?
Oh, most definitely. Well, I am the youngest of six children. I was raised in Austin, Texas, and I had to unfortunately deal with some domestic violence, witness domestic violence. I've had family members that were in and out of the criminal justice system. And so there were a lot of challenges growing up, but I was able to overcome those challenges. And I was able to learn that where you begin is not necessarily determined where you would end. And so I was able to attend Grambling State University. And while attending Grambling, I noticed that everybody there were doing pageants. And so I was like, okay, what is this about? So they had the Miss Grambling, they had the Bayou Classic, all these pageants. And so it perked my interest. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back home and I'm going to run for Miss Austin. So I did it the first time around. I didn't make it, but then I tried again, and I was the first African American to be Miss Austin USA. And so from there, that actually is where I began doing public speaking, because I went to different graduations, different programs, and things of that nature to keep students and individuals motivated for life. And so I have had an opportunity. I've been in the field of education for over 2 decades. I began my career on the collegiate level, and I started as a staff member, and I worked my way up to vice president of student services. And then on the other side of the house, I worked for K through 12, and I started as a teacher, and I worked my way up to a campus principal. And so my goal is just to take the knowledge and the experiences that I have gained, and I like to connect with other individuals, because when we were younger, we had all this zest and enthusiasm. We were excited about life. But then as we transition into the adult world, we begin to conform. We lose ourselves. We lose that spark. And so I just want to tap into everyone and for you to look at that inner child and ignite your flame so that you can design the life that you desire.
Tell me, what made you, as the youngest child of six, like spread, like not be with drugs or alcohol, not even entertain drugs or alcohol? Tell me, how did that happen, and how did you end up, like, what was your motivation getting your degrees?
Well, I think unfortunately, when we grow up in our families, and I love my family, and when we grow up in our families, everyone is born with a gift, or our insights are a little different. And I just believe that it was just inside of me. I've always been different my entire life. And sometimes I would question that, and I would be like, God, why can't I just fit in? Why am I not like everyone? But, it says you're in this world, you're not of the world. So you're supposed to stand out and let your light shine. And it was just something internal. It would make me feel uncomfortable, and I didn't want to end up in a bad situation. So I just chose a different route that was better for me and for who I was as an individual.
Can you tell me about being, is it Miss Austin or Miss Texas?
Miss Austin.
Miss Austin, tell me about that had to be nerve-wracking,
Almost.
and challenging.
Yes, very challenging. The first time around, going through the interview phase and trying to learn all of the different areas. And you're talking to a young lady that grew up with low self-esteem, because I didn't believe that I was as pretty as everyone else. And I didn't think that I had what it would take. And so I had to study hard, and I put in the time and the effort. But when I was able to be crowned, it was a great gift, because it opened other doors and other opportunities for me. And it opened my eyes to see life differently when I went out and I worked with different organizations and different businesses and different youth in the community.
Do you think Miss Austin actually catapulted your career to getting better in your job status?
I don't know about the job status, but I think it gave me the confidence that I needed to continue to push forward with the goals and dreams that I had, to connect with others. And it also showed me that with an individual coming from an environment like I did, and I'm okay to say that it was dysfunctional, I believe that God allows you to go through things so that you can help someone else. And I think those experiences allow me to connect with others during that time. And it was perfect because as an administrator, an assistant principal, and principal on a campus, we have students that go through so much on a daily basis. And so I would just recommend to parents and guardians and individuals out there, especially as we get ready to go to school, make sure that you're loving on your babies, make sure that you're supporting them, but most importantly, make sure that you're advocating for them so that we can set those individuals up for success.
And how was public speaking? Tell me about your first public speaking gig.
Well, the first one, I would say I was a little nervous. I am high energy all the time, no matter where I go. But I was able to be myself. I was energized, but it was nerve wracking because I'm looking out there and I'm like, oh my goodness, all these people are listening to me. But I think that gave me the energy and the passion that I needed to connect with them and deliver my message. But it was just to a young group of young people. I was able to share my experiences with the process that I went through to become Miss Austin, and I was able to inspire others. And all that did was just ignite that flame inside of me to say, you have a gift, you have potential, and now I want you to go and share it with others and encourage them to do the same.
What did you like? Can you repeat the school that you went to with your master's and how you got past this, the college, your graduate studies? And what I mean by that is, what was motivating you to get your master's and complete it? And then the next question is, what did you actually write about doing your dissertation as in your doctorate's program?
Okay. Well, I would say for this, what motivated me, I just was interested in a degree. Again, coming from a family, I was the first one in my family to complete my degree. So I didn't have like education. When I was younger, our goal that we received from my parents were finish your high school diploma, get a job with the state, and retire. And that's because, education, that's what they thought and that's what they knew at the time. And so for me, I just wanted to be honest with you, I wasn't ready to go into the real world. I could go to school all day because I love writing. I love planning. It's easy. No politics, none of that. Just I'm in control. Just do my work and keep it going. So that's what kept me going and pushing forward. My dissertation, I wrote my dissertation on factors that influence the future of African American males in the state of Texas. And so that was important to me because I wanted to open my own school for African American males. Because if you take my background and my family background, where I learned that, unfortunately, people went in and out the criminal justice system, I wanted to show our young men that there is another way to success in life. So you don't have to have a life of crime. You can go and pursue your education and be successful. So that's why I chose that topic as for my dissertation.
Wow, how many pages was it, by the way?
Oh, too many. I had a couple of hundred. It's been a long time.
And
Yeah.
do you still want to open up that school in the future for African American men that's been incarcerated?
I would like to collaborate with others. I think more so at this period in my life, I would like to have a nonprofit so that I can give back to all children that are in need because things are so hard for everyone right now. And I just want to be there to support the children because our kids are going through so much, as well as the parents and individuals that's supporting their kids. But yeah, I completed my dissertation. My son will be 23 this year, and I was pregnant with him when I walked across the stage. So it'll be 23 years ago
You
that I
don't look that old. Oh
oh,
my God.
thank you. I'll be 50 this year. So I'm yeah, so I'm trying to do better, but yeah, that was 23 years ago that I walked across the stage.
Oh my God. An African American woman that won Miss Austin that's pregnant walking across the stage for her doctorates. I give it to you, man. Like,
I thank you.
seriously.
Thank
And,
you.
and what are you doing? Okay, before I go there,
Okay.
tell me about assistant principal, being an assistant principal, and being a principal of the campus you were on.
Oh, that's my passion. I love children. I would love working with all children, but my heart goes out to marginalized kids, the ones that have the most challenges. And it helps me, just like we charge up our cell phones, that recharges me, that keeps me going. Just being able to connect with them, keep them inspired, and making sure that they are able to complete their studies so that they can be set up for success in life. And so when I'm in the building, I treat every one of those students as if they were my own, because you want to love on them, you want to support them, because you never know what people are going through. And so education, my heart goes out to our teachers. They go through so much. You know that they're a very loving spirit. They give and give and give. And so if you know an educator, please make sure you take time to support them. You know, a lot of educators use money out of their own pockets to make sure that our students have the things that they need in the building. But being an educator, being an administrator, that is just a true blessing, because we're able to impact the lives of others.
Can you tell me about you, like, for instance, what I mean is, like, you were a principal, and I don't want to go there into politics, but I just have to know, do you think that the teacher pay should be like
Oh, most
a
definitely.
little bit higher?
Not a little bit, a lot of it. If you think about it, we're putting on a pedestal other individuals. Now, if none of us had a teacher that was there to support us, we wouldn't none of us would have our jobs. You wouldn't be able to read, you wouldn't be able to write, you wouldn't be able to calculate your money. We need to invest in the education system, and we need to invest in our teachers. And it hurts my heart when I was an administrator to have so many of the teachers that was a part of my group and my family that would say, you know, when I leave here, I got to go to my second job. That shouldn't be the case. What they need to be able to do is give 110% to the passion that they love. They're signing up for that. And we all know on a day to day basis, that is a very difficult job, because you're dealing with students and we're trying to educate them, but we have the distraction of cell phones. We have to be a mother, we have to be a counselor, we have to be there to support them. And then we have the demands of parents that choose to believe that my children need to be on a pedestal. No matter what they do, no matter how they behave, this is how they need to be treated. And parents and teachers need to be partners. We have to understand sometimes we have to have tough love in order to help our students. Just like when you were a child, you didn't have all the answers. So let's put the children in the children's place, let's support them and build them up so that they can be successful in the future.
Do you believe that teachers are like a gatekeeper? Because it seems like nowadays we have to mold ourselves, or teachers have to mold themselves to the children and what their environment they're coming out of. You
Mhm.
know, if they live in a ghetto, for instance, and they don't get enough sleep, or let's say they're not able to study a lot, and they come to school and they're not able to take that test, you know, and like you said, they have to be put on some type of pedestal, like
Mhm.
the parent don't believe nothing is wrong with the child, or like they believe that it's not their fault, for one, when
Mhm.
to me it is. You know, I think when you go home with your child, you should invest in your child more than what you do. That's just how I feel. Like, I feel like children aren't invested in, African American children aren't invested in as much as they could be. You
And
know,
And
go ahead.
I will say that there are, of course, there is variety in everything. So there are some parents that are doing a marvelous job. They make sure that they're at the programs, that they're supporting their kids, and hats off to them. That's what we need. My
Yeah.
heart goes out to the students where we have our parents that will spend more time on your job. And I know you need to feed your kids, but you also have to make your children a priority. I shared on another show the other day that we have parents, and you think that your kids, just because they have problems, it's not a priority, because girl, you 15, you don't know nothing about this, but then you'll run her out of the house. You're not organized, you're not prepared. You bring her to school and she's in Dr. Bradford's office crying, look at my head, I don't want to go to school, and look at, they're going to tease me. Well, you sent your child to school without combing her head. So of course I'll have little combs and brush, deodorant, cologne, and things of that nature for my students, because they have to be okay. But what I would want to ask the parent is, would you walk into your job like that? So the way that you want to be treated, you need to take that time to treat your children the same way. And you have to invest in them. And it's not always where we have some parents, and I'm not saying all, but there are parents that'll say, if they tell you to do this, you tell them to call me, and don't you do X, Y, and Z. That's not helping the situation. That's not helping your child. Allow them to be a child. You were a child, you grow up, give them an opportunity to be a child, and you can deal with the adult situation later. But when you're treating and teaching them to be defiant, you're teaching them to talk back to the teacher, you're teaching them all of these negative skills, and then you wonder why you get the results that you do. So be the parent, teach them the right way, and then you come in as an adult and you sit down with the administrator and teacher and discuss any concerns that you have. But we have got to understand our students need us to advocate for them. But most importantly, they need to be the number one priority in your life, because you had these children, you brought them here, and the teachers are doing the very best that we can to educate them, but we cannot do it alone.
That's why I call them the gatekeepers, because they're the one that's between the parent and teaching. They teach the student how, math, science, English, however, and then they try to teach them. They have to be that parent. They're in school for like 8-9 hours. They have to be that actual secondary parent to them. And that's why I'm scared, because if the teachers aren't getting paid as well and they have children, it's just going to be a conflict all over again.
Yes. And with the teachers that I always worked with, I always said, number one, you have to be a priority. You have to nurture yourself. You have to take care of yourself, because if you don't, you can't take care of anyone else. And in addition to that, as an administrator, my goal was always to support the teachers. You must have healthy boundaries. At the end of the day, you can tidy up your room, you can close up the loose ends, but at the end of the day, I need you to go take care of you and your family, because we can't spend so much time investing in someone else's child and then we're neglecting our own, because we want to please the administrators, we want to please the parents, because if not, the parent or will threaten, I'm going to go to the administrator, I'm going to go tell your boss, ma'am, you need to do what you need to do, because I'm going to set these healthy boundaries. I have children at home I need to go attend to. So setting those healthy boundaries, supporting our teachers financially and emotionally is very important.
You had said such a handful, but what I want to know is more about, if you could change anything about all across the United States, the school system in middle school or high school or even elementary school. What you said a lot, but what would you specifically change?
I would say just two things would be on my top. Well, three things. My top three would be, number one is going to be security, security, security. We have to keep those schools safe and secure for our babies, as well as our faculty and staff members in those buildings. So we must make sure that they're able to move around and be safe and secure in those buildings. Secondly, we must pay our educators what they deserve. It's unfortunate that we look at the different districts and you see the individuals that's made it to the top and they're making six figures and they're doing all these wonderful things. But the teachers are in the classroom every day dealing with the behaviors, dealing with the ed, trying to teach them, and dealing with the name calling, not just from the children at times, but from parents as well. And they're still trying to survive and have their emotional together. They're fine in the classroom. We must pay them. We have to pay them what they're worth. We need to tell them that they're valued. And finding a value and letting them know their value doesn't come in a gene pass. It doesn't come in giving you a cup of cookies and a snack when it's Teacher Appreciation Day. That pay means a lot. And when they're off in the summers, that's not vacation for them. Teachers go through a lot. And I make a joke all the time. My husband's in law enforcement, and I tell him, your day can't top my day any day. because educators are very tough. They work a lot, and we deal with a lot in our buildings. And the third one is parent participations. We need parents as partners. We have got to be parents, and we teachers and parents have got to be partners in the process. And we cannot be going at odds with each other. We need to be able to have open communication. You cannot be so defensive when we're discussing your child and their needs. And it is okay if your student needs special education services or supports. We need to normalize that and say that it's okay for them to get help, because then we put on this facade that my child will never be labeled or placed in that program, and you're doing a disservice to that baby. They're in class struggling. So please make sure that you are truly looking at the big picture, how it's going to affect the child in the long run, and be there to support the teachers and the administrators on your campus.
I remember, I have something to say. I remember when I was I took homeschool classes between sixth and eighth grade, but I tested into a ninth and 11th grade position, but they gave me algebra 2 and I was struggling. I was struggling for algebra 2. But like years later, after I had my second child, he was struggling in school. So what I did was I developed, well, we agreed, me and the teachers, on an IEP. I know
Yes.
you've heard of that.
Yes.
And he phenomenal. His grades went up and he tested into another grade. So those really help.
Yeah. And it's not always long term. And
Right.
I mean, you may use it just for a short term, maybe a year or two to get them where they need to be. And then you can remove it and then they'll be phased out of the program. But we can't be afraid to give them the help that they need.
And where do you see yourself going for the future of everything?
Well, with Maintain the Flame, I am going to be moving and shaking all over the place. So I plan to do book tours. My new book is coming out. My Soul is Not for Sale. It provides you with strategies that you can utilize in your relationships, in the workplace, as well as your personal life. I'll also, actually, this weekend, I'll be in Minneapolis and I'll be working with the math teachers and speaking to them. So I just plan to travel and to speak to individuals, organizations, companies, and teachers. I also do support counseling, and I work with students one-on-one in the school systems that maybe need support, and parents that may need to navigate the school system and provide support, or just individuals that want to maintain their flame for life and design the life that they desire.
Can you tell me an excerpt from your book, My Soul is Not for Sale? That's a really powerful,
Yes, yes.
statement.
It's very important because the book I wrote, My Soul is Not for Sale, has been inside of me for many years. And it's because I've run into brick walls when I chose to stand up for what was right, when I chose to hold on to my integrity instead of just blending in with the status quo. And so in the book, it discusses biases that exist in the building. We need to take a look at those biases and be honest and have open conversation. We also talk about L kids, little kids, and big bodies. Those are adults that are in our workplace or in our relationships that had issues that they didn't resolve when they were children. So we give you strategies and ideas of how to work with that individual and move forward. And my favorite is my sister. I'm number 6. She was number 5. Unfortunately, she passed when she was 48. She was preparing for her 50th birthday, but she taught me how to flush. And I put that in the book. And that's the flush method. It stands for facing life's uncomfortable situations and heal. And so she would say, Nicole, when you're going through something, I want you to go get a piece of toilet tissue. I want you to write down your fears, your anger, your frustrations, whatever it is that you're dealing with. I want you to read it. I want you to reflect on it and pray on it and understand your role in the situation. Then I want you to take it, ball it up, and I want you to flush it, because you need to have the ability to face life's uncomfortable situations and heal. And the only way we do that is once we heal and we release it, are we able to have a life that we truly design and we deserve.
I am so sorry to hear about what happened to your sister.
Thank
Like
you.
seriously. I
Thank you.
just wanted you to finish the statement. But if you had to give a piece of advice out there to an entrepreneur
Mhm.
or somebody that wants to be a teacher or principal like you are, what would it be?
You have to follow your heart's desire. We all were placed on this earth because we have a purpose. And we all have that purpose and that passion inside of us. All you have to do is go back to when you were younger, find that inner child, that dream, that desire. If it's, I was going to start a podcast or I wanted to own my own business, then you're going to have to ignite that flame and you're going to have to protect that flame, protect that dream with every ounce of your being and take steps every day to accomplish the dream and desires inside of you. You must maintain your flame for life and don't let anyone tell you any differently.
And lastly, how can the people reach you?
Well, you can always go to my website. I'm located at www.maintaintheflame, that's all one word, .net. And that's where you can pre-order my book, My Soul is Not for Sale, or you can ask me to come and speak with your group, or we can connect one-on-one for a coaching session.
So okay, I have another question. I'm sorry, I don't want to get you off the line that quick, but I wanted to know if I can invite you back on like sometime in October or late September to do a KKNW radio segment so that I can actually, it's a 27-minute segment, and I would love to have you back on to talk
Oh,
about your book and everything else we talked about.
oh, most definitely. Thank you. I would enjoy that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining the show. Stay on the line, and I'll be back later.
Thank you.